afternoon, it's going to be blistering hot. After a warm, sunny day, we usually get fog like this in the morning, and then it clears and gets sunny, usually. You're in the Tongass National Forest. Oh, good. Right away, we have
Our domestic thing.
yeah, the slug that belongs here. This is the banana slug. Anybody from California? Nope. Okay, this is the mascot of the University of California at Santa Cruz. Their slugs are a little more colorful. Most of ours are camouflage, colored like this. And then the black slugs are an invasive. They came in with building materials about 10 years ago. And you can see how he's dragging along stuff with him. So seeds, pollen go along with him. He's about ready to look at me. He's got 4 antennae that'll come out. There comes 2 of them. Oh, he's being a little shy. So we'll talk more about the slugs later, but Bob says step on the black slugs because they're kind of taking over, but it'll stick in your shoe. So we get so much rain every year, about 100 inches, that we never have forest fires, and that explains why the forest looks the way it does a lot. Wind is our change. So this tree got blown over about 3 years ago by the wind. Underneath that is a very thick layer of volcanic ash, and the roots don't really want to go down in there, so they spread out. Trees tend to grow on old dead wood because forest fires never come in here and clean up the stumps or fallen trees. That one is a big Sitka spruce, and then the other ones are western hemlock. So we say Sitka spruce has potato chip bark. This one, bacon strip bark, is western hemlock, and that makes up about 70% of the forest. So everything will get mossy, green here. It's usually raining, kind of chilly this morning, but be happy it's not pouring down rain on you. So we like questions. Let's see, one more thing people will ask about is this plant down here. It's called skunk cabbage, and if you smell something a little musty, it's the skunk cabbage. It attracts insects that way to pollinate it. And the leaves get huge, bigger than her. People can use it to wrap their fish up and cook their fish in it when it's on fire. But it's just a huge plant. The rest of it, mostly berry plants, and we'll point some of those out later. All right, should we move a little bit? About 80% vegetation in the diet. So when the bus is coming down the road here and we're first coming here, I look in this little estuary and estuary. So there's a lot of mammals that we don't have. They aren't here or they aren't here yet. We never know. But our mid-sized animals, we don't have any coyotes, foxes, wolves, raccoons, skunks, or anything like that. We just have mink, marten, and river otter. And this is a pretty recent den of one of those. And you can tell that because the dirt's been dug away a little bit. And they like to live right near the salt water. And these little white things are shrimp shells left over from what they've been eating. So if you see river otter, it's really fun to watch them. They are just so good. They'll just go down, and they're always just flopping around and teasing each other. They'll go down, pick up a nice big fish, eat it, you know, and just go down and get another one. It's like the whole world is in a grocery store. And a couple of those were introduced by the Russians for fur. Another den that was new this year, and I don't know about these. These are local crab shells, but I think some kid put those there as an offering or something. These are either Dungeness or red rock crabs, and I believe this one is a horse crab. And we don't really have a crab fishery here. That's more up in the Aleutians. But people will put out individual pots. So if you see some buoys out here, people put out shrimp and crab pots. Some years after warm winters, and typical winters here would be right around freezing most of the winter. Last winter it got down to 15 degrees and was mean, cold, icy, long, and no snow complaining. Before that we had 2 relatively warm winters, no snow for 2 years. Yeah. And on those warmer winters we will have an outbreak of spruce aphid that can damage some of the spruce trees, and you can see it up on the hillsides, a lot of brown trees. But no, not like in Colorado, and I've seen that recently until you get about 10,000 feet. Just amazing acreages of dead pine trees. Yeah. Up on the Kenai Peninsula north of here, they had 20 years ago spruce bark beetle that killed a lot of trees, and I think some of them are coming back now. But our forest is pretty healthy here, even though a lot of times it doesn't look like it because of all the dead and dying trees. But this is a good example here of a nurse log. That tree got blown down a long time ago, and everything's growing on top of it. So sometimes in the forest you'll see a perfectly straight line of trees. It's because they all grew right along a stump. They got more light, got up out of all the rainwater, maybe so high that deer didn't browse on them when they were young. The biggest tree you'll see today, unless you go into Totem Park downtown. They've got some pretty big trees there. This is maybe 500-600 years old, and it's a western hemlock with the bake of the strip bark. And this is the little cone from that tree. They're all over the place. But the squirrels live in here, so this is a recent pile that the squirrels left from the Sitka spruce cones. And this is the Sitka spruce cone after the squirrels are done with it. So you can see how the roots grow on top of everything, and there's lots of natural little holes in there. When you're walking off the trail, you kind of have to be careful because any place, your foot can go right through the roots. So we're going to go under a root that probably grew over an old stump or an old log at one time. And if you'd like your picture taken in front of it, hello, is a
I can.
well-trained
Yeah, I've been
photographer.
doing this for a while.
Oh, go ahead.
You don't want
This is just a molted shell. So as they grow during the summer, they just split their shell at the back end and they ooze out of their shell, and then they're a soft-shelled crab for a little while. And they get to be maybe 2 inches across, but you can see his cute little claw there. And there's just millions and millions of these. Hello, we'll talk about seaweed for a minute, and maybe I'll catch a live one for you. They're food for everybody, except us. Ravens, crows, great blue herons, bears eat them. This is our idea of a long sandy beach.
attached to the rocks. When they're not attached to the rocks and they wash up eventually. Slugs across the trail for some reason.
They're everywhere.
Some things and then you can walk forward. So this is liverwort up here, and then you can walk here a little bit behind me. And then this is sphagnum moss, peat moss, same thing you get in the garden store. So that's liverwort up there. This is the sphagnum moss or peat moss. Same thing you get in the garden store. When it rains, it'll pick up, but yeah, that's a better example. And then down here on this rock, right here, you'll see coming out these fronds. And you can distinguish this particular one because it comes out in one frond, which is unique to ferns. This is licorice root fern, and these are growing into the crevices of the rock, so you couldn't pick these really to get the root. People do use it for flavoring. So when I go to find some, I make sure that I can feel all the way down to the root and hold the root and pull it out. Otherwise, we just break off the stem. What I'm looking at here, I don't know if you can see, this is a salmonberry bush, and parts of it are young. When they're young, I'm going to try to spot one. You can eat the inside of the stalk. After that, it becomes woody, like that's woody. But when they're soft, and this is, I don't know if that one would be an okay one, because usually they're not red. Usually they're greener. Let me see. This is in the rose family, and most things that are in the rose family, you can eat the leaves, the berries, obviously, the salmon berries. Okay, what's in the rose family? Apples, strawberries, raspberries, blackberries. So this is a salmonberry, and it's in the rose family. It looks a lot like a blackberry, but it's either comes in an orange or a red on the same bush. I'm peeling this back, and I'm hoping that it's a good one.
If you look just a little bit further than her and up a little higher, you can see all those pink blossoms. Those are the salmonberry bushes.
Yeah, the flower is pretty distinguishable, looking like a salmonberry. Probably could have picked this lower. I just want to taste it and make sure it's, yeah, it's a good one. So, peeling back the stalk, I probably could have peeled it, taken it a little lower on this particular one.
Somebody has a drone out here.
Oh, yeah.
I see that.
Out there?
Oh, yeah.
The first time I've ever seen a drone in Sitka, we were
So I'm
right
gonna
about
start at the
here
back
in
of
the
the
morning,
line.
and the thing just buzzed by. So I guess we'll get used to that now. So
I'm
much
trying
for
to get the
privacy in the forest. Forget it.
See how easy it is to snap. So if you just take your finger and snap it in one side.
It's confused. It's like they cannot be an airplane.
It's a tiny, tiny little one. This is too cool.
It's pretty big, isn't it? And here, you want to try it? Just snap it off. Good, that's okay. Okay, so there's a little bit left here, but I can take some more. So you want to share that between the two of you?
I'm going to pass. Thank you.
Oh, okay. So there we go. Not bad, huh? And you can only get this in the spring.
I can't think of what that tastes like. It tastes like
Is that grass?
Tell me if when you walk by here if you smell a sweet smell. So you'll only smell it like right here. So tell me if you smell a sweet smell. Okay, so right where you are, did you smell it?
I can smell it.
Okay, so as you're passing in this area, you'll smell a very sweet smell. It'll only smell in that section. You're not going to see it, but there's a fungus that has a very sweet, licorice-y root kind of smell. And what's it called, Laura? I can never remember that.
I can like smell it over here too.
It's over there or coming from that way.
I don't know which side of the path it's on, but
Yeah, for sure. That's, yeah. Smell that in there, though. Oh my gosh. I thought it was going to be real hard. Oh, great.
It's just a little.
Oh wow, I just got a whiff of it really nice.
yeah, it's like really strong.
Yeah, it's a white, very low-laying fungus.
Yeah, that's good.
Like that stuff right
It's
there.
not any better right there, but I have never actually seen it.
Yeah, I don't know. That's not quite. So this is one of my favorite knolls. If you get out on it, it's very soft underneath because it's a lot of hollow spaces and mossy. One day we were with a group coming by this way, and there was a father up here reading a story to his young boy. Yeah, and it's a place like when I was in high school, we would come out and just hang out on up here. And it's always been this clean, naturally clean like this.
Didn't you have to come out and build shelters in high school, or did they do that? when
We
you were-
didn't do that at the time.
Now they have kids come out and build a shelter because almost everybody is going to be in a boat out in these islands at some point. They also have a class called Suddenly in Command, which means your captain goes overboard. What do you know about the boat you're on? And
Yeah,
then they teach kids how to, swimming is a big deal, or how to put on a survival suit in a minute, which is nearly impossible.
Yeah, and they do it in certain grades. They require it. I think 5th grade is one. 5th?
You know, there's a lot of it, and it's still never
Right.
my captain went overboard. I'd be rowing.
Oh, well, there was Ryan's story. When he was 16.
Just for
Or
a second.
the guy that was with the beard in the dock.
He grew up here, was in a small boat, and fishing totes, we all know what they are, but they're giant, thick plastic containers fishing boats, or even pleasure fishing boats. His boat capsized, and everybody got separated, and it was a stormy day, and Ryan ended up spending 24 hours in a fishing tote
On open
just
sea.
wearing what he was wearing, and the seawater gets up to about 50 degrees out there in the summer, and they finally found him, and nobody died, but he got really mature, really fast. Changed.
So we can walk down a little bit further and we'll turn around. Yeah, they're getting ready to pass us, so we'll let them.
Well, we chased the giraffe off the trail, just for it.
Had no cartilage. Yeah. Had no cartilage. And every step was painful.
Yep.
I haven't been on in a week.
But sometimes if we do see a bear and people get really good pictures, they send me pictures. Because I try to pay attention and not start looking into my phone.
flowers on it, but you have to pick it up and look underneath it to see where the flowers are at. And this has bell-shaped pinkish purple flower. It's called twisted stalk or cucumber stalk because the stalk on it does have a cucumbery flavor to it. So, you know, when we're hanging out in the woods, like say on the knoll up there that we passed, we'll just like pick one younger than this usually, not maybe even a little more mature than this, but anyway, if anyone sees one and wants to sample it, what I do is I just kind of gnaw on the stalk. I don't like eat it, but I get the good flavor from it. And then in the near fall, after these flowers have died back, then it gets a berry on it, little oval shaped, dark, kind of burgundy reddish color, and it's called a watermelon berry. It's very juicy, tastes kind of like a watered down watermelon.
What?
Your camera. I was seeing
Oh.
it from a distance. And it, hey, did people see the deer vertebrae walking? Some people did. Yeah.
And I still have to show you that other one. It's just after the footbridge.
Oh,
Somebody
okay, there's
planted it up in
another
a
one.
tree.
Yeah.
Deer don't climb trees. Really.
This plant is in the rose family. It's a currant. We call it stink currant because somebody decided to name that based on the smell of the leaf. take it, pass it around. You know how when you make mint tea and you put your dried mint into the hot water and then it lets off this beautiful aroma? Well, this leaf loses its aroma when it's dry. So people that use it for tea use it fresh. But you can see here it does have the berry stalk, this flower stalk, and pretty soon it'll have currants on it. The leaves get really big. They're more like a maple leaf shape. But when the buds are really small, you can eat them. But as they mature, they get these thorns on the back. And that's one thing we watch out for when we're in the woods. If you slip, don't grab a hold of this because the thorns are more like a fish hook. And a friend of mine, a native friend who gathers this all the time for medicinal purposes, always carries a needle with it. The sooner you get that out, the better.
Well, let's just butt in and listen to
Otherwise
what Paloma has to say about this beautiful plant, all right?
So this is one we watch out for when we're hiking because we don't want to slip and happen to grab it. We don't have poison ivy or poison oak, something that if you just brush up against it, you're going to get a skin rash. This is in the ginseng family. When you're downtown, there's a company storefront called Winter Song. They also sell it online. This Devil's Club salve. They'll make salve out of it. They'll also make tea. And where they get when you see on the ingredients, it's saying the Devil's Club bark, they're talking about the inner bark. So what you would do is take a dull knife,
There's a
like
car
on
coming.
the back of a knife. This brown portion is very paper thin, so it's very thin. So when you take the dull knife, you'll get to a smooth, very nice green outer bark, just inside. And then you would take more of a potato peeler depth to remove the bark. You can make tea out of it. It's good for blood sugar, and it has other medicinal properties. So if you made salve out of it, you would infuse the bark with the oil. So that is good for inflammation. It has anti-inflammatory properties, so if someone has arthritis, they really like it. And it also has antibacterial properties, so fishermen like to have it on their boat if they get a cut. They use a Devil's Club salve, and I don't know anybody in town that doesn't have Devil's Club salve in their home.
That's right.
Yeah.
I use it in my knuckles to get arthritic. How about the leaves, how big they get? I mean, it's amazing what's happened just the last couple of days.
Yeah, they were very tight buds earlier, and before they grow out, you can eat them when they're young, but as you can see, they do have needles on them. All underneath the leaf has needles on them. But those slugs, that slime gel that they have on them can make their way up over these thorns, and then they'll get on top of these leaves and eat the leaves.
Michael, probably while we're waiting for them to use the restroom, I'll take my group down to a special place, all right? Come on.
We're gonna let you have this restroom after you're going down here for a
I was
minute.
going to take them down here. I'll
Okay,
let you
we're
guys
gonna go
use
to
this
the
one.
across the
Use this
road.
one.
We're gonna go across the road.
All right.
like, I mean, like here, you know, we used to have it, we could get a pink salmon. I've never had that red of salmon. Not as fatty as it wasn't as oily.
Red salmon is not as fat. I like as long as people don't overcook it.
Okay.
They probably know what they're doing every time. They call it red salmon because the fish itself is still bright red when it's spawning.
Not necessarily. No. Maybe it was pink then. But is pink more red than white? You know, like white. You know,
Not everything that's white is white king. There are some king salmon that have white flesh, and I don't know why. But used to be way back when, like the 40s, I just read some stuff and thought there was something wrong with it. So they didn't throw away the smell of alder smoke, cured salmon came through my yard all the time.
So we're seeing one of our first blooming flowers of the spring, and this is yellow violet, and the flowers are edible and the leaf is edible. The leaf actually tastes better than lettuce.
Look at these salmon berry bushes here. This is going to be so good. This is always a real good catch.
Yeah, that's quite scary. And so, if you get the Devil's Club salve, that is also infused with the ooze.
here there for a second. Just pointing at itself.
How the heck do you do this and walk at the same time?
Exactly.
Wait, you said a second. Oh, the screen.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of things I wanted to point to here. This green plant with the nice green leaves on it is in the same family as cranberries. They get a berry on it. Tastes just like cranberries, but it's sweet. And these leaves are evergreen, so they stay green all year. And then in here, there's a patch of, in this brown moss, kind of has a red look to it. This, can you, anyone get up close and see what I'm pointing at? Mm-hmm. Can you see what it is?
Oh, is it? It looks like a star thing.
It's in the same family as a Venus flytrap, but this is, there's a genus Venus flytrap, and they close like this, and then this is a sundew, and it closes like this. They're in the same family, but a different genus. And people do use them medicinally. They'll put it in alcohol teas. And it's good for seasickness. And it's also good for things like whooping cough, dragonfly. And you'll see these big dragonflies stuck in these little tiny things.